Hello there and welcome back to my channel, the channel of crazy. Let's face it, that's what it is. But today we've got another TZ Cosmetix product to try out, see what it's all about. So today I'm going to be testing out the 350 colours eyeshadow palette. This costs £10.80 and you can buy it from Amazon. They do have about 5 of these kind of £35 palettes, and they all have like different kind of colour families within them. So if you kind of wanted one of these palettes, and if when I've tested it out, the eyeshadows are actually like easy to blend and all that jazz. If this kind of colour family wasn't kind of singing to your vagina, then you can of course go on Amazon and they do have like other colour families. It is very reminiscent of Morphe. I don't know why, I don't know if this is correct, but I just feel like Morphe kind of set that tone, you know, of having like, well, it's that thing of fitting as many eyeshadows in a palette as they can. Like, let's see, how many eyeshadows can we just pop in here? Personally, I don't particularly like this kind of palette where you've got kind of loads and loads of shades, because I find it quite overwhelming. I prefer to have like a smaller palette. I just prefer a smaller palette because I just can never make up my mind at the best of times, and I find this can be a little bit overwhelming. And I also do find that a lot of the shades can tend to look very similar, like they just have like slight little variations, like maybe one is just like a slightly lighter brown and then the other one is a ever so slightly darker brown, you know what I mean? So it's not necessarily the kind of palette that I particularly kind of buy, but if you have watched my other videos, I did get a bunch of products sent to me by TZ Cosmetix just to try out. I'm under no obligation whatsoever to even film videos on them, but I wanted to because of course I love testing out the makeup. So okay, so this is the palette, this is me. Oh, I got my hair done as well. Look, I got an industrial fucking piercing. Can you even believe it right now? I'm trying to concentrate and not think about the throbbing coming from my ear right now. And by the way, like this piece of hair here is just doing my head in. Should I cut it off? Like, what do you think? Should I cut it? Right, I'm good. Okay, I know you're saying no, Anwen, do not cut that. I'm going to cut it. Just one sec, guys. I just have to. If I don't, it's going to piss me off all the way through the video. And I just don't have time for that. Okay, I'm just going to cut this. I know you're saying, Anwen, don't do it. What are you doing? But I'm just going to cut like this little bit off, and then I will somehow get the rest off. I don't know how I'm going to do that, but I'll do it anyway. Oh, do this. Oh, sorted. I mean, really? That's amazing. Oh my gosh, I wish all my problems could be sorted that easily. This is making me want to like shave that side of my head. There we go. Wicked. I mean, really. Anwen, she finds solutions to problems. Give me a problem, I will find a solution to it. Okay, so there we go. So that's my industrial piercing. I'm really, really loving it. But it's a little bit throbby now, like Honey's cock. I mean, I shouldn't say that. Oh my gosh, I'm going to get in trouble with Honey's. Okay, anyway. So this is the palette. It comes in plastic, and it's got a little kind of peep show window there, so you can have a little, you know, look through and see what's inside. There's 35 different colours, as the name would suggest, and you've got a mix of shimmers and mattes, but predominantly it seems to be like more mattes. I have swatched a couple of the shades on Snapchat and my vagina just popped all off all over town. So yeah, I'm going to just swatch a handful of them. I'm not going to swatch all of them because there's 35 fucking shades in this palette. So I'm just going to swatch like the ones that interest me the most, and then I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to do an eye look, and I'm going to give you all the tea, or give you the lowdown on the palette. I mean, really. So okay, oh by the way, I've just remembered I've not got any other makeup on. Normally I do other makeup, but I've also got this blush palette that I might maybe look. This blush palette here, how beautiful is that? This is from TZ as well. I need a t-shirt. Anwen, everything's from TZ these days. But by the way, thank you so much to Rick from TZ for sending me the makeup. I so appreciate it so much. It's so much fun, just so much fun over here. Okay, so okay. Oh, what was I doing? I completely forgot. I was just in my element, having a little drive, just like, oh no, when you're filming a video. I mean, really, what kind of host am I? this is what happens if you come around to my house. I just get distracted. I'm like, oh, do you want a cup of tea? Yes. Okay. And I'm in the kitchen and I'm just like, da na 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 na, party in the kitchen, party, party in the, and they're just in there thinking, what the feck is going on? I'm never coming here again. Okay, so anyway, right, I'm gonna get yourself on gear. Get on gear, girlfriend. Okay, I don't know what's going on with me in these fecking epic long intros recently, but okay, let's do some swatching. Okay, so to begin, I dipped my sassy little fingers into 3 of the shimmers, and I will just swatch them here. Oh my gosh, I'm liking it. It's a little bit on the chunky side, but that's not a problem. My favourite ever shimmers in the world are by TZ Place, and they're quite chunky. So I think, you know, as long as you don't pick too much up on your brush. Oh my gosh. Oh. Oh. Look at that. Oh my gosh, I heard my voice echo then. I don't think I've ever heard my voice echo before. And then this beautiful pink shade. I swatched the pink. Oh, is that the peach one? That's more peach. Okay, so I swatched the peach and the pink on Snapchat, and they actually reminded me a lot of TZ Place shimmers because they've got that slightly chunky texture to them. They look very metallic. I'd say that they weren't quite as bedazzlingly metallic as the TZ Place ones, but I think they're still really, really good. So, okay, I'm going to go in to, I'm going to get a few more of the shimmers. Ba-ba-bum. Okay, so I've gone for like the goldy bronzy kind of shimmer family this time. And we have, oh my gosh, they're so soft. They're so smooth. Oh, guys, look at this. Oh my gosh, but see what I mean about when I say that, you know, when you get a palette like this big, it seems like some of the shades are quite similar. Like, I feel like these 2 shimmers are quite similar. This one's more of a, like, maybe a reddy based like bronzy, and this is more of like a brownie chocolate bronzy, and these 2 look very similar as well. This one's more gold, this one's more of a true bronze. But do you see what I mean? Like, I just find it very overwhelming to pick a shade when they're all there looking very similar. Do you know what I mean? Okay, next I'm going to go in with, okay, I'm going to go in with a couple more shimmers, and then we're moving on to mattes. Okay, so 2 of the dark shimmers, again, they do look very similar, don't they? Do you see what I mean? But I think that potentially, like, this palette would be really good for a beginner in makeup. Like, I didn't really like that one. I thought that was a bit patchy. Okay, so I'm not the biggest fan of this one. It just didn't seem quite as creamy, and it doesn't look as metallic as, you know, the other ones that we've got going on, looking all bombastic. This one I like, but again, I just feel like not quite as bombastic as the lighter kind of shades. But yeah, I was just saying, I feel like this kind of palette would be really good for like a starter in makeup. So like, it would just be a really good one to have to play around with, you know. Right, okay, so these are the shimmers, and just for comparison purposes, I'm going to just swatch a couple of TZ Place shimmers like up here so that you can kind of compare to, I don't know, because I'm always going on about TZ Place, so let's fucking compare. So this is the Magic palette by TZ Place, one of my favourite eyeshadow palettes in the world. So I'm just going to dip into the pink. There's 2 shades of pink here. They've got a darker kind of pink and then more of an icy pink. So if I just kind of swatch these, there and there. So can you see, like, I do think that like the TZ Place ones are just a bit more metallic looking. But I do think that these TZ ones are still, you know, really, really good, I would say. But probably just not as blinding as the TZ Place ones. But I mean, there's not many eyeshadows on this planet that are as good as TZ Place. So, okay, I'm going to just go ahead and do a few of the mattes. And then we're going to get into the eye look. Because, I mean, is that what you came for? I hope so. Maybe not. Oh, I don't want to... Do you know what? These actually look, in person... They look so bombastic. I get really annoyed with my lack of lighting situation. I promise, guys, when I manage to save up a little bit of money, I will be investing in some lighting and a new camera and a new editing suite and some kind of course in editing. I will be, I promise. But anyway, okay, let me just check my arm is dry because I don't want to have a wet arm. Wet vagina, fine, but don't want a wet arm. No. Okay, so I'm just drying it. This is fun viewing for you guys, isn't it? Oh, what did you do today? Oh, just watched Anwen drying her arm on YouTube. Yes, it was great. Anyway, okay, so I'm going to go into... Oh my gosh, this is the kind of really vibrant, like reddy kind of orangey shade. I'm going to go into the one next to it, and there you go. And actually, I'm just going to swatch these two. Why not? I'm getting carried away. Okay, so I mean, they don't feel like very powdery, is what I would say. I think they look nice, but they're not my favourite shades. So I'm going to swatch what would be my favourite shades. So let's have a look. Okay, so I'm going to go into a cranberry shade. I'm going to go into a camel brown shade. Have you ever had a camel toe and in public? Whenever I've got a camel toe in public, Honey feels the need to point it out to me. Not when I'm getting in the car, when I could potentially go and put other pants on. Oh, no, 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 no. He waits until I'm in Tesco, and then he decides to say, you've got a fucking camel toe. And I'm just like, well, could you not have told me this earlier? I mean, really? I don't want people looking at my camel toes. Anyway, right, so here we go. So this is the... Which one was that? That was the cranberry one, and this is the kind of tan brown. I'm not a huge fan of these mattes, just saying. You know, I just feel like they're not very opaque. They're just a little bit... Not my favourite. They look a bit faded, you know what I mean? And this is the reason why I'm not a massive fan of these kind of palettes in general, because I do feel like you kind of forfeit maybe quality for quantity. Do you know what I mean? I feel like if these eyeshadows had eyes, they would be giving me side eye right now. Just like, what the feck are you saying, girl? I mean, really. Okay, so do you know what? We're going to move on to the eye look because, you know, swatches aren't everything. So I'm just going to get on with the fucking eye look. I mean, really, I'm just going to wipe these off my hand. They do kind of stain a little bit. Can you see that? I look like I've been going for like a tiger look today. I'll be in Tesco with a half tiger arm and a camel toe. They were like, who is she right now? Some kind of hybrid camera tiger. I don't know. Okay, by the way, oh wait, what did I do with that hair? Oh, it's on my leg. I was thinking, Anwen, what did you do with your hair you chopped off? It's just on my leg. I mean, what's it doing there? Okay, right, so I've primed my eyes. They're ready to rock and roll. They're saying, yes, Anwen, we are ready. Do your worst. Do it. Okay. Oh, by the way, as well, I do have some new Morphe brushes. I say new. I've never owned Morphe brushes in my life, but one of my fantastic subscribers sent these to me. Pino, thank you so much. Like, please, can you like DM me on Instagram, because I've only got YouTube comments to like comment you, but DM me on Instagram. I want to say thank you formally because it's so kind of you. So I might use a couple of those today. I begin with like just a light neutral kind of shade just to pop into the crease. I can never find my fucking mirror. I mean, really. Okay, so I'm going to use this brush by a Morphe crease. Okay, so I feel like, you know, just a light little tap in has actually produced a lovely transition kind of starting shade. So I'm just going to dip it in next to it. It's a very similar shade. You're going to hear me saying that a lot probably in this video, but it's a slightly more pink based, I feel like, neutral shade. So I'm just popping my brush into there, and I'm just going to blend that in my crease. And this, by the way, in case anyone's wondering, oh, I can't tell you. Sorry, it doesn't have the... I was feeling like Wrdley for a second there, like, oh, this is a Morphe S1 vaginas. But it doesn't actually have the brush code thingy name on it, so I can't. My moment of feeling like Wrdley is forever lost in the world. I mean, really. Okay, so I'm liking that. Look, I do feel like I've got a good bit of crease going on there. It blended out really nicely. So I feel like now is the time. Let's fucking build up some colour. Let's not pussyfoot around. So I'm going to move brushes. What? I'm going to switch brushes. I'm going to go in with this little bad boy. I know my brushes all look like ridiculously dirty because they are. I mean, they are. That's the truth of the situation. So I'm going to go in with... Okay, I'm going in with a slightly more like, I'd say, beigey kind of shade. Okay, I'm going to get it together, girl. Okay, here we go. I do actually feel like these have actually really good colour payoff. You know, like some eyeshadows just don't swatch as well as others. And let's face it, who wants, you know, the most pigmented, intimidating matte, you know, because I sure don't. That would just freak my vagina right out. Okay, so I'm liking that. Look, you can see with just 3 shades, I have a crease. She has a fecking crease. Okay, so I'm going to kind of replicate what I've done on this side over on the other eye, because if I don't do it now, I'm definitely going to forget. I'll be back in 1 sec. So I've done the same on the other eye, and I must say at this point, the eyeshadows actually blend out super easy, and the fact that they're not, I'm talking about the mattes here, like the fact that the mattes aren't overly like pigmented, it makes them very easy to work with. Especially if you're someone like me that isn't maybe the most skilled at makeup. I think that, you know, you can just really take your time, you know, building up to what you want. This would, I think at this point, I'm going to just say, like, a bit early probably, but I think it'd be really good for, like, you know, a beginner, someone who is getting into makeup, who just wants to play around. This is definitely, I think, a user-friendly palette to use, but, I mean, I've only used a few of the shades, so who am I right now? I'm going to put a little bit of this like very tan shade under my eye. Okay, so I'm going to go in with a slightly deep shade. I'm sorry I'm not like showing you every single shade. Should I be showing you every single shade? Okay, so I just went in with this shade under the eye. And I'm going in with this shade just to boost it out. They look very similar, I mean, as we've discussed. So I'm just like putting that all up in there. I just don't feel like a look is complete to me if I don't look like, you know, I've not slept for 5 days, which I kind of look like anyway, you know. I have 2 kids. Anyway, okay, so next we're going to add a little bit of a je ne sais quoi. I don't know what that means, but je ne sais quoi. We're adding it, whatever it is. I'm going to go in with, oh my gosh, I don't know what I want to produce today. I'm going to go in with this. I'm going in with it. Because why not? I just think, I'm going to just do it. Be free to experiment, Anwen. Okay, so this is really, really pretty. I'd say if you're like a fan of neutrally kind of looks and grungy looks, which goddamn I am, I think you would like the kind of colour families in this particular palette. Sorry, I'm going to stop going on. I'm just fucking going on all the time. It's like, Anwen, put a dildo in it, in my mouth, not anywhere else. I just wish I didn't talk so much. Okay, so this is the deepest kind of colour that I've applied so far. I'm just kind of taking it to my lash line there. And I'm just going into the crease. I'm not going as high up as I went in previously because I don't want it to go too high. Okay, so there we go. Okay. I'm going to just pop some here as well. Why not? Just get this look grungy, Anwen. Can you see though, these eyeshadows are like really, really easy to use. They just go on, you blend them out, no fuss. If you want them to look bolder, you can add a bit more. They all so far have been like working really well together as a team. So now I just wish I had like a matte pink, you know, like because there's a lot of like, you know, like grey, brown, like camel kind of tones in here, and yeah, I wish I had like a matte pink, but I'm going to go in actually with shimmer. I'm just doing the shimmer. Let me just prepare the lid. Okay, lid, are you prepared? Because shimmers are going to be coming on board imminently. Yes. Okay, I've prepared the lid. Okay, so I'm going to use this little brush here that I got from, I got it from Morphe. Oh, so my phone's doing my head in. Why are you insistent on interrupting me right now? I'm going to use this little brush from Morphe. It's a little flat top situation, and I'm going to go in with the icy pink, this one here, because I'm really tempted to go in with the peachy. I think that was the peachy one, but I'm going to go in with the icy pink because I want an icy pink lid with the grunged out crackhead, you know, smoky look. Most of the time for me with shimmers, I either like to use my finger or I like to spray a bit of Fix Plus. So I'm just going to begin with using the brush, which I don't know why, because this is something that I don't really ever do. But you know what, when you're on YouTube and you watch YouTube, you kind of find yourself doing things that other people do. And you think, well, I wouldn't do that, so why am I doing it? So do you know what? Feck the brush. Like thank you so much, Pino, for buying me the brush, but feck the brush just for now. I love it, but feck it, because I'm doing Anwen. I'm doing Anwen. So there we go. I've got the shimmer on my finger. See, this is what I would do. I always feel a bit ratchet for some reason doing it on camera, because I'm like, oh my gosh, would Nikki Tutorials do this? Probably not. But you know, this is my channel. Okay, so I'm really liking that. I'm really, really liking it. I love the icy pink with the smoked out look. I do feel like it looks a little bit powdery. That beautiful metallicness, I don't know, I'm showing you my arm, I forgot. It's not on there anymore, and when you washed it off. But I don't feel like it's really giving off the same metallic wet look sheen, you know, as it kind of swatched on my arm. So I am going to go in with a little bit of Fix Plus. By the way, I know that not everyone has Fix Plus. You don't need to be suckered into buying Fix Plus. You could use water, you could use your spit, and it would do exactly the same thing. So yeah, so don't feel like you have to have this. I'm going to go back with the brush. I'm so sorry for being rude to you earlier, but we're friends again now and I need your help. Okay, so I'm just going to spray, wasting most of my Fix Plus. I mean, I sprayed it all over the fecking camera. I mean, really, what's going on? Let's wipe it. Okay, so I've sprayed my brush and I'm going back in now to the shimmer. So let's see what happens. Oh, for fuck's sake, phone, like literally, I'm sorry. My friend's just got a new puppy and that's great, wonderful. But I don't need to know, like, every time that puppy has a poo in your house, every time the puppy eats one of your slippers, I don't need to know it. So I'm going to silence this because it's just rude, quite frankly. It's very rude. Okay, so can you see how having a slightly wet brush will really just bring the metallic out of a shimmer? I'm sure you've seen this a million times before, but this is why I always, even with my dry place shimmers, I will use a wet brush. So that definitely has intensified it a bit. It does look slightly chunky, which, you know, I'm not a big fan of. But I'm going to just at this point take the opportunity to go and replicate everything on the other eye, and I'll be right back at you. Guys, something crazy has happened that has never happened before. What the fuck is going on over here? What? All I did was spray Fix Plus onto my brush and it's gone fucking crazy. What the fuck is that? I don't know what to do. Should I just try to rub it off? I just have no idea. Okay, let's just put a little bit more on. Okay, so that's crazy. Like, I don't know if it was that I put too much Fix Plus on my brush or what, but that was a really bizarre reaction. But sections that didn't have sections, I made my eyelids sound like massive, but there were areas that didn't really have a lot going on. But okay, I've kind of sorted it out now. I'm going to just build up this crease a little bit. I'm going under the eye just to really smoke that bad boy out, and then I think we are done. So I'm just putting a little bit of this chocolate shade like under the eye. That's what she likes. Oh yeah, partner. Do you know a problem that I have with this palette as well? Like this is like something that I always find when I've got too many shadows in the palette, but I forget which shadow I've just dipped into. Like, do you do that as well, or is that just me being a mindless twit? But I forget, like, I'm like, which shadow did I just go back into? Because they look so similar. Yeah, I mean, this is probably just me. I bet, like, most people don't have that issue, but the struggle is real over here. I mean, really. Just feel like I want to make this crease bit just a little bit more like bombastic. So I'm going to go in with, I think I'm going to go in with like, it's almost like a red undertoned brown. It's like a very warm brown. So I'm just going to add some more of that like in and around the crease. I'm just kind of tapping it on. I think, you know, either go smoky or go home. Like, really, you can't really half-ass it. I feel like in the corners, I just want to like just make the corners a bit more dramatic. So I feel like I'm going to go in with this like charcoaly kind of black, just a tiny bit, just like in my outer like vagina situation, outer V, I know, vagina, outer vagina situation. And then I'm going to apply my mascara and I will come back and give you all of my thoughts on the palette. Okay, so I've done my mascara and of course, she's going in with the Aurora palette. This is absolutely gorgeous. Can you see, like, the light's actually good today and they're not powdery, they're like a cream. Oh. You need this palette, like you need this palette. If you like highlighters, you need the fucking palette. Like literally, there's no excuse, you need it. So look at that. Like literally my vagina, the last few days since I've been using this palette, it's never had so much of a workout. I mean, really. Can you see that? Look. More. You can never have too much highlight, is what I say. Can you see that there? Ba-bow. I mean, it's so sexy. It's so sexy. It's kind of like you can't really see it from face on, but then at the side, it's like, oh, hello there. And I do find that because this is a cream product, like if you use a brush with it, you will not get the same results. So definitely just like go, oh, look at that. Go in with your finger. I mean, really, look at this. Since I tried this palette, I've not used any other highlighters on my face. I feel like I could just happily give away all of my other highlighters and just have this because it's so damn gorgeous. I'm going to pop a little bit on my nose. Look at that. Pop a little bit there. Okay, so for my final thoughts on the palette, it's definitely not a palette that I would have bought for myself, which is why when Rick from TZ Cosmetix asked if I wanted to review any of their products, I decided to pick it out because it was something a bit different. So I just thought it'd be a really good one for me to try. I actually really like the look. I found that the eyeshadows blended out really nicely. I think the shimmers swatch beautifully, but I think they go on the eyes nicely, but they're a little bit on the chunky side, is what I will say. However, I think that the mattes are so good in terms of their blendability. I think they all work well together, and I actually think the shades in here are beautiful, but I still stick with what I said before. I think there's too many shades for me. I know that lots of people might like this, and if you're a makeup artist or if you don't have a lot of eyeshadow palettes, then this would be ideal, I feel. And I can see why this kind of larger palette would be really appealing to a lot of people. But just for me, because I've got way too many eyeshadow palettes, I just find this a little bit exhausting in a way, like it's overwhelming. I'm spoilt for choice, and I do feel like we could have done without, like, you know, very similar shades. Like if they swapped them for a different shade, you know what I mean, instead of having like, I don't understand that. Why have lots of similar shades? Why not have like, make the most of the palette and have lots of different shades? I don't know. Believe me, that's not just a gripe with this palette. It's Morphe with, you know what I mean. So whenever I'm reviewing a product, I always kind of take into account the price it is. And I think for £10.80, this is actually really good. I would recommend it if you don't have a lot of other eyeshadow palettes and maybe you want to just have a play around, see what colours work for you, or you just want to mess about doing lots of different looks. I think it would be insanely brilliant. I can't imagine that Morphe shadows would be that dissimilar from the shadows in this palette, and their palettes are, you know, double the price of this and ever increasing by the day. I do have the Jaclyn Hill and Morphe palette, and I would definitely say that the eyeshadows in this palette were very similar indeed to that palette. So yeah, I don't really have a problem with the formula, other than I did think the shimmers were just a little bit on the chunky side. If you're, you know, a younger person, or if you don't have like, you know, crinkly eyelids as I have, then you probably wouldn't even notice that. And I also do like the shades in this palette, but again, there are a lot of repeats, so, you know, just keep that in mind. I just would have loved it if we had like lots of different shades. I don't understand, like, Rick, can you tell us why, if you're watching this? You're probably not, but if you are, why do we have like lots of very similar shades here, and why can't you put different shade in, Rick? Come on now, I mean really. So in conclusion, I would have no qualms whatsoever in recommending this palette to you. I think that if you maybe just beginning your makeup, I think it would be beautiful and brilliant. It's great to have in your like collection. I think if you've got a young son or daughter who are just getting into makeup, this would be a really good like present for them. But of course, just if you like these shades, then you know you've got like duplicates within the same palette, so it'll last you for fecking ages. What I envisage I will be doing with this palette is breaking it apart. Like literally, I'm going to get my Little Mermaid Z palette that I got from AliExpress, with which by the way TZ Cosmetics do sell those. They're absolutely sensational. I'm going to be popping these little pans out, the ones that I feel like I will... Oh, excuse me guys, what's going on here? What is going on here? What is going on? Have you come to do the makeup reviews?
No.
Okay, right, I'll just finish telling, I'm just telling everyone the conclusion. It's very important about the video. So I'm going to pop out some of these eyeshadows and then put them in the Z palette, because I do feel like you're always going to be using these like charcoal shades, the browns, the neutrals. So I'm going to be popping some of these fellas out and popping them right into my Z palette. So anyway, that brings me to the end of this first impression. I hope that you enjoyed it. Please don't hesitate to let me know if you've got any questions, comments, or anything that you just want to tell me, that you're just dying to tell me, whatever it is, let me know in the comments. And thank you so much to Rick for sending me this palette so that I could try it out. I really do appreciate it, and I had a great time dibble dabbling with it today. So thank you for watching, and I'll be back soon with more. I feel really awkward now because I know honeys can hear me, and I suddenly feel very awkward. It's like this is an awkward situation. Anyway, so I'm going to go now, but thank you. I hope you have a lovely rest of the day, and I'll be back soon with more.